The Jeep Gladiator is for people who get pleasure out of driving. Good morning, everybody. How are you today? Pretty good here, and that's right. I finally put my finger on it. The Jeep Gladiator is for people who get pleasure out of driving. Now, what am I talking about? Well, first, let's take you back a little ways, right? I'm going to go way back, like 40 years ago, or something like that. You know, I remember anticipating getting my driver's license way back when I was, I don't know, probably started about 14, 15 years old, right? I couldn't wait. The time couldn't go fast enough, right? It was kind of like waiting to get out of high school, right? I couldn't wait for that to be over either. And then college. I hated school. But anyway, I digress. You know, going way back, and let me know if you agree. You know, I couldn't wait to get my driver's license. As soon as I was able to go in, get my permit, I did it. I believe it was on the day I turned 15 and a half, 16. I don't even remember back then. But I was there. And then I went in and I got my motorcycle license because I wanted to get out on the road, right? And that was the quickest way I could get out on the road by myself. Because obviously when you have your learner's permit for your motorcycle, you don't haul people around on the back with you. There's some restrictions, you know, those pesky helmets and not being able to ride after dark or something like that. And you couldn't haul passengers. But either way, it was freedom. And I loved it. And then came the car not too long after. Got to admit, it was a little bit eye-opening for me. I'd never driven a car on the road before until I was legally allowed to. I'd driven it on dirt roads and fields and driveways and stuff like that. But it's a completely different ballgame when you jump behind the wheel and get out there with all the crazy people in the world, right? And I learned quickly, and this was a big eye-opener for me, right? I remember going to, I don't know, some of the theme parks like Cedar Point or Kings Island or, you know, whatever when I was little. And you'd get in those cars. Do you remember those cars that you could drive? They were on a track, right? You could only go so far one way or the other, and they would smack that track and throw you back to where you were supposed to be. I kind of thought driving, for some reason, was going to be like that, right? I had this feeling that for some reason, when you were in a car driving down the road, you're on a rail. Well, that's not true when you get your driver's license, right? When you're out there on the road in the wild, the car will go anywhere you point it, including off the road. But anyway, I could not wait to get my driver's license. I love driving. I love driving to this day. And I think part of the reason I love the Jeep Gladiator is because of the way it drives, right? Its power, its handling, its comfort. I mean, it's awesome. It is, in my opinion, a true driver's truck. It's for those who really love driving, and that's me. I love to get out on the open road, even long trips. Now, my wife, she might disagree here. She's not a big fan of the open road, right? I can get out and just drive for hours. I've done it. I think the longest I ever drove in one stretch was about 19 and a half hours, something like that, coming back from Florida to Ohio. I drove straight through. Now, I gotta say, it wasn't the most comfortable ride in the world. I can't remember what it was. It might have been a minivan or something. You know, back when the kids were little, we decided just to drive straight through. They slept anyway, so it didn't really matter. But I really did love it. When I got home the next day, I found myself missing it, you know? How weird is that? Just spent 19 and a half hours driving in a vehicle and the next day you're wanting for more? It's true. So the Jeep Gladiator, you know, of the trucks I've had, and I've had almost every one that there is at some point in my life, right? I think the only truck I probably haven't had, and I'd argue it's probably a derivative of it anyway, is the Chevy Colorado. I had a Chevy S10. I'd say that the Colorado is probably an iteration or a next generation, in essence, of the S10. So I've had every one. And the problem I've always had with every one is they felt like trucks, right? And I know a lot of you diehards out there are going to say, well, no kidding, right? It is a truck. It's supposed to feel like a truck. Oh, there's a little truck feel for you. Jeez. But I disagree. I don't know why there's this feeling out there that somehow a truck has to be rough. It has to be rugged. Well, it has to be rugged in as far as its performance and its longevity, but it doesn't have to be rough as far as the driving experience, right? I mean, you should gain some pleasure out of driving your truck. You shouldn't get in it and just can't wait to get out of it, right? Well, at least not me anyway. And that's the way it is with the Jeep Gladiator. You know, like right now, I've been driving around for probably at least half an hour now, something like that. And in no real hurry to go home. I'm enjoying myself. I'm gaining pleasure out of driving my Jeep Gladiator, right? The comfort in it, another thing, you know, that's important too. I've had trucks that were horribly uncomfortable. You know, the last Toyota Tacoma I had, my 2018, it had a seat problem. It had an angle problem. You know, and it's, a lot of people have said, well, it's because you're short. I'm not short. I'm 5'9.5", and it's average height. It's actually taller. I think the average right now is 5'7". So if anything, taller than your average driver, right? But the seat angle was wrong. It was pointed down, and I always felt like I was driving like this, like I was in the space shuttle or something, like I was getting ready to blast off, you know? I did correct it. I corrected it with spacers in the back so I could level out the seat. Didn't really have anything to do with height as much as just the position or the angle of that seat. The Gladiator's not like that, right? And it doesn't have power seats, at least mine doesn't. Everything is manual, like my Tacoma was in 2018. And I'm able to get it the way that I like it. I don't have to do anything extra, right? I don't have to put spacers under the back or under the front or on the side or whatever. You ever been in a truck that leaned? The seats actually leaned? You always felt like you were leaning towards the inside? I don't know, maybe that one had a problem, but I have. I'll tell you, the worst one that I've ever been in was the Dodge Dakota. The Dodge Dakota, I mean, for people who complain about the Toyota Tacoma, the Dodge Dakota was horrible. That thing felt like you were almost laying out when you got in, right? The angle was so bad, it was uncomfortable. I always felt like my legs, instead of being more, you know, kind of pointed down, which I think is how it should be, were kind of more flat. It was the weirdest thing, horribly uncomfortable. I test drove one because I was looking to buy one. I loved the way they looked. But man, after I drove it, there's no way. So I think Jeep has got it right. Hopefully they don't change anything drastically. I don't know how they would. They would really have to redesign the whole mechanics or look of the truck to do that. And I don't think that's going to happen. But they've designed it in such a way that it's very comfortable to drive. Love the interior. Everything is ergonomically placed where I can reach it. No rattles, no squeaks, because let's face it, I don't know about you guys, but when my truck is rattly and squeaky, it drives me insane. A lot of people right now are complaining about the leaf springs in the Toyota Tacoma being squeaky, and it drives them nuts. I can understand. It would me too. Anyway, just wanted to get on here, talk about that for a couple minutes. You know, I think the Jeep Gladiator really is for people who get pleasure out of driving, right? It's not for people who could care less and see it as just a means of transportation. For me, when I go out driving, it's an experience and one that I want to enjoy. Leave a comment, let me know, particularly if you have a Jeep Gladiator. Do you get pleasure out of driving it? Let me know. Also, real quick, if you're interested, check out my other channel. It is Rob Motive, all about my 2020 Toyota Tacoma. Don't forget to click that notification button so that you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button on the way out. Stay safe out there and be comfortable. Thanks for watching.